Hello, beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Gifted Table. What a wonderful day this is. It is January 16th, just one day after the Founders Day of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Shout out to all my sorors. Whoop, whoop. We are so excited for 115 years of service to all mankind. And then today, of course, is the celebration of a legend, of a leader who has an amazing legacy, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Oh my goodness. And look at this. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. So as you know, we are not going to be silent today here on the Gifted Table. No, no, no. We have some things to talk about. And before we get started, I also want to give a shout out to my brother. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday, brother. Mwah. Love you. 55 years young and looking fabulous. But today, we're going to start off by reflecting on last week's episode of The Gifted Table, which I'm so excited you guys are here. Thank you for pulling up your seat, pulling it up close, and joining us today. But last week's episode, we talked about identifying our gifts, and I challenged those of you attending to do an assignment. And I'm going to call it your Making It Happen moment. Did you have your Make It Happen moment where you were supposed to create a T-chart, right? Create a T-chart. And on the left-hand side, you were to list all those things that you're confident about, those skill sets, those characteristics, those things that you do that you know you're fully confident. And then on the right side, you were challenged to call at least 3 people and see what compliments that they would give you about your characteristics, your style, your leadership. And did some of those things align? Were there some things that you identified and some things that they also identified? Those may be your gifts. Those may be your gifts. So yes, there we go. All right. Oh, I see we have the beautiful Summer Leaves who's here again. Hello there. How are you? Thank you for joining and taking your seat at the table. Get your fingers ready for the chat. Today, everyone, we're going to talk about leaning in and leaning on our gifts. And what does that really mean? And I am so excited for the 2 wonderful guests that are here today. And these ladies are going to just keep it authentic, keep it real, and we're just going to have a great conversation. So please, welcome to the Gifted Table for the first time, Chief Dr. Ayanna Balogun. Where you at, Dr. Balogun? Where you at? Where you at, Dr. Balogun? Where you at? Welcome to the table.
Good evening. Glad to be seated at the table.
Yes, right. Taking your seat nice and close. And welcome back. She's been here before. Love her, my girl, my soror. The wonderful Tiffany Eggleston, the scholarship code herself. Welcome back to the table.
Well, thank you, hair flip soror.
I'm gonna mirror that.
Yes. Thank you for having me back.
Yes, yes, yes. So excited to have both of you here. Oh my goodness. What are we about to get into, ladies? Because you know there's no script here. We're just going to have a real conversation. And we want to invite the audience, those of you who are tuning in, get involved, get in that chat. If you're not logged on so that you can do your chat, log on because we want to hear from you. But today, ladies, I invited you because I said, let's talk about leaning in to our leadership, right? What does that even mean to lean in? And when I thought about that, you know what I thought about? Track and field. I'm not an athlete, but I love track and field, right? Did either of you run track and field? I think one of you did.
No, I didn't, but my son was.
See?
I felt like I ran.
Right, because you were at every single track meet, right? Right? Why are you trying to tell silent right now, Miss Tiffany?
Talk about my track history.
Yeah, did you?
Well, to be honest, I didn't lean in as much as I should have. I ran track very briefly in high school, and Normally, I'm very focused, but I got distracted by other activities I was involved in. I was told that I had a talent and was able to run really fast, but like I said, I just didn't put in the dedication that I needed to. So that's one thing I regret. I should have.
Well, but you at least you did it. You were
I
there
did.
for a moment, even if it was for a moment. No regrets, honey. No regrets. But when I think about track, and maybe Ayanna, you can share about this when watching your sons meet, going to his meets at the end. When they're running at the end, and you trying to be the one to beat, and what do? Don't they lean in? They lean into
Yeah.
that tape, right? They lean
Yeah.
into that tape. Yes, lean into that tape. And why do we do that? Because we want to make sure we cross that goal. We're like pushing towards crossing that line as whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes to lean in. So that's what I want to talk about, our leadership, right? When do we really take our time to really lean in to our leadership? And what does that look like, first of all, to either one of you, leaning into your leadership?
I was waiting on Tiffany, but I guess I'll jump in. She's the track runner. So I know that when my son was running, um, his name is Devon. Shout out to Devon.
Shout out to
Um,
Devon.
hey, when he ran and or when his team ran and they leaned in, that often determined who was going to win the entire track meet. Not just the race, but who was going to win the entire track meet, because those extra points of becoming first or second make a difference in the entire track meet. So when you're thinking about leaning in to your leadership, it's like, what will you do to build the relationships that you need with people so that they will go the extra mile and so that they will be ready to take a stand on what you guys have determined as the goal for your group? And that means investing in what matters to them and what matters to whatever the goal is or whatever the organization is. And so that's what it means for me, is really investing in the people that are on your team and taking the time to get to know what works for them. So leaning into me is not even about me. It's about them.
How about that? How about that? And I'm so glad you brought that up, because in order for us to be where we are in our careers, and I do want you both to share a little about yourself. So you started off sharing already, Chief Dr. Ayanna, but go ahead, introduce yourself, share, just share with the people who you are, what you do, and why you are an awesome woman with amazing gifts.
Are you talking to me or Tiffany?
Yes,
I'm still
ma'am.
waiting on Tiffany.
You can be silent if you want to on this live, but
Were you talking to me? I
I
thought
was
you
talking
said
to
Chief
Dr.
Doctor.
Ayanna. I said Dr.
Okay,
Ayanna. I said Chief
okay,
Dr.
that's what I
Ayanna.
thought.
Tell the people a
You
little bit about yourself and
You
who you
did.
are.
You did. You did. Okay, you did. I'm participatory. I was waiting for Tiffany to jump in and tell us her story because I want to know, right? I'm a participant, but I'm like, yeah, I want to know about Tiffany. Um, so I've been in education for close to 30 years, since 1994. Started all the way from an instructional assistant all the way up to where I am now, which is a district position over equity in our district. But also, I do a lot of community work. I have my nonprofit that we started a few years back, entitled Emerging Beauty, and really that work is about building resilience and self-love and helping people to emerge to their best selves, and particularly the African American community. And we have a big event coming up called the Queen's Meeting, and so I'm super, super excited about that, March 18th.
Second annual.
So March 18th, we're going to celebrate queens in the community that have been doing the work that often go unnoticed. But also, I do a lot of research around my scholarship work. My doctoral degree is based on culturally responsiveness and really building equity in systems where traditionally was set up for underrepresented people to continue to be underrepresented. So I do a lot of work of undoing. Um, so the chief came about because my husband, he also has what they call a non-governmental organization in Nigeria, which is in Africa. And his organization is called the Imole Foundation, which is the Bring Light to the community. So anyway, it started off where he would celebrate the community. His mom told him, "You need to feed the people after they leave the mosque. You need to make sure that you give people food. So after they fasted, they're able to have food." And the community just loved it. And year after year, it just grew and grew and grew. And it became like a community block festival, so to speak. And so he was able to bring light to the community, bring water to the community. And so years later, when he purchased a house, another house in that area, they honored him with being a chief. And by default, once they found out, how awesome his wife was,
Yes.
I was able to get that title too. So that's how the chief came
And
about.
that's why she's chief. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you so much for sharing, because I want the people to know who we have here at the table and why you lean in. Look at all of that equity she has. Look at that. She just have all of that social, relational, and professional equity. Okay, now Tiffany, new day, live on the show. Tell us about you, my dear, for those who don't know about Tiffany and what you do.
Yes, most definitely. My name is Tiffany Eggleston. I have about 16, 17 years experience in higher education, about 12 in communications professionally. So my career started right out of undergraduate. I needed a job and I was looking for a job. And the first job that I actually got hired, what I call my grown up job, was as a financial aid assistant at Claremont Graduate, what used to be school is now university. Um, I thought that I would be there a year or two and that I would, venture out into something else professionally. And I actually really fell in love with assisting students. I didn't have, thank goodness, to borrow financial aid when I was in undergrad. My parents were able to pay for my education, which I appreciated so much. But I just really enjoyed the aspect of helping students and parents. And so I continued, and different positions and opportunities came about, and I started to grow and mature in the industry. And after a few years from going to different universities and having different roles, I then sort of went to the other side of the industry, if you will, and I worked for two of the largest student loan lenders, Citibank Student Loan Corp, and then Sallie Mae. And so oftentimes when I'm talking to people and they know that I work for the lenders and they're like, "Oh, tomatoes, 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 I have to pay back my student loans and I hate it," which I obviously understand. But I know that there's a level of education prior to borrowing, which I'm a big proponent of. I always always laid out a plan with my students and families that I helped and talked to them about, don't just sign on the dotted line and then stress about it later. Really have an understanding of what it is that you are committing to. And so I started to lean in actually into scholarships and sort of the free money that was available, as well as the financial aid, and being able to educate families. From then, I started doing sort of independent work where I volunteered at churches and other community organizations and met with community stakeholders to just hold workshops throughout the community, talking to families and educating their K through 12 students, as well as students that were already in college. And so in 2008, the financial downturn happened. I, along with 3,000 of my other colleagues, were laid off from Sally Mae, and I had to pivot and went back to my roots and sort of continue my career of communications. But financial aid and scholarship literacy has stayed with me, and I've just continued. And now about a year ago, I established a business where that is my sole focus, to educate students and their families on scholarship and financial aid literacy. And I enjoy it. It's very fulfilling, and definitely what I am purposed to do.
And so we have on here just, I mean, both of you are just powerhouses in what you do. And for those of you who are tuning in, you can see in the chat that we've posted the website. If you want more information about the scholarship code, it's right there. Please go on there and check her out. But again, these are things we have to lean into. But in each job and each position that you both mentioned, that I've had, we've had to lean in at different times, right? And Ayanna, you spoke about it being about your team. But at one point in our lives, right, we were the team. We were the team. So how did people lean into you so that you could start leaning in to your gifts? I can tell you for sure, one of the people who really started leaning into me to kind of help me identify some skill sets and start thinking about leadership were both a powerful principal, Shalimar Horsley, who's a friend, who is also a SOAR, who's a mentor. She's definitely one that leaned into me. And also, I mention her quite often, Dr. Judy White, as well as Dr. LaFay Platter. Three powerful women, and there have been men as well, but three powerful women who saw something in me that showed me how to lean in. And in turn, just like you said, Ayanna, gave me the opportunity to start really paying attention to other women to see how I can help them lean into it. But why is it that we need that support? Why do you think we need that support? And I see that some reliefs has put that she said she needs more information on the emergent beauty and will use the link for scholarships. Of course, thank you. We're going to make sure we have all of that information in our description. Thank you for seeing that. We're going to stay connected. This is a community of unity. But ladies, what are
Awesome.
your thoughts?
Well,
For,
go ahead. Go ahead, Tiffany. Go
thank
ahead,
you.
Tiffany.
For me, and I, it's similar to what you just said, Dr. Melanie. I had incredible mentors. Financial aid was not an industry that it was dominated by women, but you didn't see a ton of women that looked like me. And I was so blessed that when I started, um, one of the women that hired me was African American, and she became a great mentor. And two other women. So in total, it was three: Jermaine Graham, Cleo Williams, and Tala Jackson. And they taught me not only the fundamentals of financial aid and how to understand federal regulations and everything that goes on the backside, but to have compassion and understanding for families and realizing that this is a stressful time. You know, parents want their children to succeed and to do well and to have all the tools and resources that they need, but they don't often know how to provide those or have an understanding. And so I realized that as I matured, from them teaching me that this isn't just a job, and if you're going to be in it and you're going to be committed, that you need to have the level of compassion and understanding, as well as being a resource of knowledge. And so I credit my success not only starting out in that industry, but they also supported me as I elevated and opportunities came to me. I
Wow.
was never made to feel as if I
Yeah.
was being held back. Cleo, actually, I was working for her when the opportunity came for me
Mhm.
to accept the position at Citibank. And she was so encouraging. She said to me, which shaped the type of leader that I would become, that
Mhm.
I'm not a success if you're not a
You're not a
success.
success, right?
And I had experiences where I had the complete opposite. I had a boss at one point who limited me. She did not want, and she didn't look like me. Not that that had anything to do with it, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying
no interest in you getting.
she didn't support me. She literally held me back. And I'm
Wow.
glad that even at that young age, I was about 24, I had the wherewithal and confidence in myself that my parents had instilled in me that I can do anything. And just because you don't see it, or just because
Right.
you won't encourage it, does not mean that I have to be limited here. So,
That
you
part.
know, I like I said, my three mentors of beauty
Oh, I think
ushered me through the industry.
okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I attribute it to them.
Ayanna, go ahead.
No, I was thinking, and I won't repeat what Tiffany said because mentors, sister circles,
So
the spaces where you have to talk to people that think like you, they're all significant in helping you to lean into and help you craft what it is you're supposed to do. I know that as a mom, as a mother, as um, a leader, as there's just so many roles that we have. And like Dr. Luke Wood from San Diego, they have a term called race lighting. And it's like when you are going through, like Tiffany was saying, these issues that may or may not have anything to do with race, you start to question yourself and you start to question what you believe in and why you're doing the things you do. And so I had to keep at the forefront, is this something that will benefit my children and my children's children?
yes.
And is this something that's going to make this world a better place once I leave? And so that's why I just keep going. And that's how I lean in by asking those questions. Like, my mom, my grandma came from Mississippi and left and created a pathway. My mom came to California and left Illinois and created a pathway. All of those sacrifices they made, am I going to let those sacrifices go in vain for the future generations? And so that's how I kind of lean in, by making sure I have people that know more than me, that pour into me, that understand me, and that are going to keep it 100 at all times.
At all
And
times.
Tiffany, Melanie, we just hook up and we just have to just be
That's right.
ourselves and be real and
That's
just,
right.
but being our authentic selves, I think that's what helps us get through,
It
all
is
of
so
it.
important. And what you both mentioned about, having these people, having these circle, just having that connection. And what I like to say all the time, this community of unity is what strengthens us and encourages us to lean in. But now I'm thinking that's what we're creating, this space, and not so much for us to lean in, but then for those who are coming after us, alongside us, for them to lean on. I was talking about leaning on to your gifts, but this gives them something to help prop them up, to help give them strength, to remind them, I'm not the first one. Can I do it? Well, I can call Chief Dr. Ayanna. I can call Tiffany because
Yeah.
she's already shared with me her experience. So I can lean on her gifts. I can lean on her experiences. I can lean on her wisdom so she can help guide me. I mean, that's remarkable. I would love, love, love. We have a couple of people on. I see Tasia. I see Patricia. Summerlees, are you still there? Why don't you all share? Maybe put in the chat if you're able to. Let us know, how do you lean in the positions that you have, or how do you create space for others to lean on you? What are you doing, or who helps you to lean on them? We'll love to hear from the people who are tuning in today on the Gifted Table. Okay, ladies, we are not done. We still have some things to talk about. So tell me, who might be some interrupters to your leaning, to lean back, to lean back, to lean back, to lean back. Because sometimes we need to lean on, right? But what might be some of those interruptions to you even having the space and the capacity to lean on when you need to lean on. For me, I know it's for me, it's really intentionally having people who are not causing drama in my atmosphere, who are trying to keep me from the trajectory that I know I'm on. They can't stop me from leaning on, because I'm on it. Oh no, I have to like stay away from that. So what's some situations, some distractions from you're leaning in or you're leaning on?
Now you got me thinking about that song, Lean Back.
Oh, I know.
Lean Back.
I thought we was gonna have it play for a little second, but
okay. Okay. What are some disruptors to the leaning in? Okay. Hey, pause moment. You know, I'm big on music. I think, listen, the way I lean in is creating theme music. I love it. I love it. Disruptors. I think anybody that stops the energy of what you're trying to do. And I think it's important to make sure that you notice them. I think being Black women leaders, you have an intuition about where you're trying to go, and you can almost spot it immediately when someone is coming at you sideways, but making it seem like it's so nice and it's a critical, and they're still trying to disrupt the goal, Yes. So anybody that interrupts that energy of where you're trying to go, because you know that it's for a bigger cause, it's not even about you. Right. And so when they try to give that energy that will stop it or create a roadblock, those are the disruptors for me.
And it's so interesting you brought that up, because you talked about they might do it nicely, but I call that, what do we call that nice nasty?
Yes. Yes.
Was that called nicey? What did Mr. Lance? Okay, I'm dating myself. But yeah, that nasty, right? Where you might have somebody skinning and grinning in your face. They're hearing, your intellectual property, the things that you want to do, the goals you want to set, how you want to support your organization. Think, oh yeah, that's cute. But then they may go back and either claim it as their own, or try to make it seem like, oh no, I don't know, they're trying to bring too much change. We can't deal with this change. This isn't going to work here. This isn't how we do things. It's like, no. Sometimes you need the disruption, and that's why I'm gonna lean into it. I don't know why I'm acting like I'm running, because everybody knows that I wasn't an athlete.
And they try to find policy too. And some of the funny things about them finding policy is like some of that policy is outdated, like from 1952. It's like, really? Schools have changed a lot since 1952. I'm gonna need you to catch up. Right. Or I'm gonna need you to look and see the audience and the community you work in, because all that is outdated.
Can you read the room? Because the 1952 kids are not here in 2022, and now we're in 2023. Can we cut it out? Can we cut it out? All right, ladies, you have been awesome with leading in. Before you go, and I was hoping that we was gonna have some people in the chat, but before you go, if there was one thing you could share with someone to encourage someone to lean into wherever they are in their position, in their organization, what words of encouragement would you give to another woman to lean in?
I would say for her to trust herself. Trust yourself, trust your abilities, trust your faith, trust your purpose. If you lean into all those things about yourselves, then no one or anything can prevent you from going to the steps that God has already ordered for you. And I've experienced that myself. I mean, just like I said, the example that I gave with one of my old bosses, if I didn't have the confidence and faith that I had, then I would have let everything that she tried to do stop me. And this is how God works. So shortly after I left that role And I continued in my career, and I started working, like I said, for two very large organizations. A full circle moment. The school that she was at was one of my clients. And so when she saw me shining, she would try to say to people like, "Oh, I'm so proud of her." And I had to let her know professionally, but I let her know, like, when you had an opportunity to pour into me, you
See?
chose not to.
Mm,
So the credit will be given, like I said, to the three women. Then I say, but you didn't have anything to do with this because you chose to try to limit me when you could have encouraged me and supported me. So I would say always trust yourself.
yeah.
Always trust yourself.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Chief Doctor.
I would say, um, think about the things that you do when nobody pays you. Um,
That's
think
huge.
about think about like what you're passionate about, and be willing. Even though I'm not at that stage, I can openly admit right now I'm teetering, but be willing to find your purpose in that and be secure. Like Tiffany was saying, when God has a purpose for you, you know, he'll take care of that purpose because you're doing his work. And so be okay with taking the risk. So it may start off small where you keep your 9 to 5 and then you kind of, dabble in your passion a little bit. And then you keep your 9 to 5, but you invest more into yourself, into your passion, or you get a website, or you get an LLC, or you get a business license, or you start having conversations about that passion. And then when you're ready to take the leap and invest in yourself, and you feel like that is what God has purposed you to do, then go for it. Go for it. I think one of the beautiful things that we have as women, especially as Black women, we're always encouraging each other, always pouring into each other. And so I think talk to your sister circle and find out, even if you're not African American, you talk to your sister circle
Mhm.
and ask them, what their thoughts are, and then go for it. Whatever you will do and whatever you're passionate about, even if you didn't get paid. Summer was saying she helps people with their unseen strengths.
Yeah. Did you see that comment? I know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So Summer Leaves is one of my really good friends. So glad that she's
Go
here.
Summer. Go Summer.
Yes. Look. Yeah. So, and she's also a very, very talented entrepreneur. She's a hairstylist. She's been doing hair since we were like probably in junior high. She would probably say high school. I'll say junior high. But look at what she said, that she wholeheartedly helps others lean in on their unseen strengths. And that's what we were talking about, right? While also encouraging
Mhm.
them around to become their best self. And she's so good at that. And she mentioned that she does that with business owners and such. And they've become authors and done in all kind of things. So leaning in, and how important is it for us again to lean in and support one another as women? That is huge. So thank you for sharing that with us, Summer Leaves, that you do it with intention. You do it with
Mhm.
intention. And sometimes we have to find those people who are around us, who we may think, oh, no, they have it all together. Sometimes those are
Mhm.
the main people who need us to lean into them and for them to lean on us so we can help support them. It's like don't underestimate it. Don't and don't get it twisted. Always reach out to someone and pay attention to what people are doing and pay attention to what they're not saying, but
Mhm.
and you may see an area where you may need to help them. Yes, you are a missionary, and, and the chair is my field. I love that. Yes, you are. The chair is her field. Yes, and she is reaping lots of harvest in that field. And so glad that she was here. And more importantly, I'm so glad that you both were here today. So the make it happen moment for this week, I want to challenge everyone to journal. Just take some time to journal and really think about something within yourself that you have to lean into, or maybe someone who may need to lean on you. And then once you think about that, write it down, then take action. Take action on it. Do something about it. Don't just let it sit there. Don't just think about it, but do something. And I see Darlene Dawes is here. Hello, Darlene Dawes. She was amen. She's to Summer Leaves, yes. And she says, what would you give yourself wholeheartedly? Yes, she's amen to that, because she knows she's another good friend and truly, truly passionate about what she does as well. So thank you so much for being here, Darlene. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and cheering us on. Ladies, you've taken your seat at the live table. And I'm so glad that you were here. Definitely, Tiffany, tell us one more time, where can people reach you for the scholarship code?
Yeah, and my website, it's at the scholarship www.thescholarshipcode.com. You can also catch me on social media, Instagram, same name, Scholarship Code, Facebook, and Twitter.
Awesome. And Chief Dr. Ayanna Balogun, please tell the people, if they want to reach out and connect with you, where is the best resource to connect with you?
Definitely. emergingbeauty.org is our organization's website. And there's a place for you to get in touch with us, and we'll reach back out to you. There's also our executive assistant, Mari is on there. So send her a quick email. You can reach us. And I'm busy writing down the scholarship code. Like, oh, I need that. I got a freshman in college. I need all that.
Yes, you do. Yes, networking. That's what we want to do. Each one help
Absolutely.
one, right?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Call me, girl.
Call her. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. Antoinette Hunt, thank you for being here. Thank you for enjoying today's episode of The Gifted Table. It has truly been my blessing to have these ladies to share their gifts with us today. And don't forget, you can also go to thegiftedtable.com, find out more information about us there, and also find us on Instagram at The Gifted Table. I'm at The Gifted Table. Hello, DB. What's up? So glad you were here. We got to get you back here at the table on the live. So glad you're here, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the support. All right, everyone. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining us. So blessed that you were here. Don't forget to share this link with someone who you believe needs to hear about leaning in or leaning on their gifts. Please share this link. Subscribe if you're not currently a subscriber. And don't forget to like this as well. Would love for you to do that. I want to also end with my infamous quote, because this is the end. So remember, stay grounded, innovative, fierce, transparent every day. In other words, stay gifted, and I'll see you next time.